Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to English class. Today we are going to revise one more chapter, and the chapter name is Mahatma Gandhi. So, after reading this chapter, if you have any doubt related to any question from the exercise, you can ask. I will be happy to help because your half yearly examination is very near. Let's start. In India, we call Mahatma Gandhi as Babu or Rashtrapita. His full name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He was born on 2nd October 1869 at Porbandar in Kathiawar, Gujarat. So his father's name was Karamchand Gandhi, his mother's name was Putlibai, and his wife was Kasturba Gandhi. So in this first para, it is written that in India we call Mahatma Gandhi as Bapu or the Rashtrapita or the father of nation. So he was very great leader. He was born on 2nd October 1869 in Gujarat. And what was his full name? His full name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. And his father's name was Karamchand Gandhi, you know very well. And who was his mother? Putlibai. And Kasturba Gandhi was his wife. Gandhi lived the life of a common man and kept himself away from luxuries. He was very honest and truthful from his childhood. So when he was very much small, that from that time only he was very much honest and truthful. And you know one thing? So he did not like the luxurious life. He did not like the comfort zone, and that is why he started living simple life. And he lived the same, that means life of simple or the common person, how the ordinary person lives their life. Similarly, like the common person, Gandhiji also lived his life like the common person. That means simple life. So what happened once he read the story of Shravan Kumar? Shravana used to carry his old and blind parents in the basket slung on a bamboo yoke. Gandhiji was deeply touched by his devotion towards his old parents. He decided to be like Shravana and serve his parents. You know, when he was very much small in his childhood, Gandhiji read one story. The story was about the Shravan Kumar. You must have heard also this story of Shravan Kumar, who used to carry his parents by keeping them in the basket. He used to carry them to different places because his parents, Shravan Kumar's parents, were blind. So after reading this story touched Gandhiji very much. So this story touched Gandhiji very much. And he just decided that he will also devote his life to serve his parents because he found very much devotion of Shravan Kumar towards his parents. And that is why he also decided that he will serve his parents entire life. And you know, he not decided only to serve only his parents, he decided also to serve the entire country and the victim and the needy people. Later, we will read in this chapter. So, he went to England to obtain a law degree. After obtaining his degree, he returned to India in 1893. Yes, my dear student, in earlier days, in those days, there were no good facility of getting higher education. Okay, for higher study, people had to go to foreign. And that is why after completing this schooling, Gandhiji went to England because he wanted to do degree in law. And he just went there to continue his higher study. So after getting his degree, after obtaining his degree, when he completed his a law degree or his education, higher studies. Then he returned to India in 1893. When he came to India, he became very much restless. Why? We will understand here. He was restless to see his countrymen suffering under the foreign rule. That time there was British rule in India. So when he came back to India, Gandhiji saw that there were injustice everywhere. Britishers used to do injustice with the people. They used to torture the Indian people. So when he saw this illegal things or this injustice with especially with the Indians in his own country, then he decided to remove this all the things, to remove this injustice from his country. So he devoted his entire life for the upliftment of the poor and to free his country from the clutches of the British rule. So he decided that he will just make India free and he will devote his entire life. That means he will do every work for the upliftment of the poor, of the needy people, and he devoted his entire life. He led the freedom movement against the British government and started Satyagraha. So, after coming to India, he just saw the condition, what was the miserable condition of India under the British rule, and he decided, very well. And that is why in this regard, he decided to start so many movements, and he started in India. He started so many movements like the Satyagraha. He started Satyagraha, non-cooperation movement, Dandi Salt March, Quit India movement, and civil disobedience movement. You must have heard about these kinds of movement. So started so many movement for the upliftment of the India and to make our nation free from the clutches of the Britishers. And finally, ultimately, India got freedom on 15th August 1947. After a lot of struggle, finally, we got freedom. When we got freedom, so we got freedom on 15th August 1947. Mahatma Gandhi is known for his principles of non-violence all over the world. He led a saintly life and was against all sort of injustice and inequality prevailing in the society. So here, the difficult word is what saintly life. Saintly life means what? Life of a saint. That means very simple life. How does a saint live his life? Saintly means what? Saint, life of saint. All right. Life of saint. That means very simple. All right. So Gandhiji, from his childhood, he was very much honest and truthful. And later on, he decided because he liked only this simple life and he lived the simple life. He did not like comfortable life. All right. And because of this, he could do so many great work. Mahatma Gandhi is known for his principle of non-violence all over the world. So he was basically known for his great principle of non-violence. What is the meaning of non-violence? So non-violence is just opposite of what the violence. And what is the meaning of the violence? Violence means what? To to fight or to do arguments or any kind of negative thoughts is also comes under what the non-violence. Like if you think anything negative for other person, this is also a kind of what? Violence. So Gandhiji was just opposite of this. So he was not famous only in India, but he became very much famous even all over the world. He led a saintly life and was against all sorts of injustice and inequality prevailing in society. So, when he saw there was injustice and inequality everywhere in the society, he decided to remove these all things. He did not like these things, injustice and inequality. There was casteism in India. There was inequality. There was people used to do what the differentiation, and especially the Britishers used to do injustice with the Indian people. He wanted to establish Ram Rajya. By Ram Rajya, he meant the kingdom of God because he liked the very simple life. So he wanted to establish Ram Rajya. Ram Rajya means what? A state where there will be peace everywhere. There will be no fighting and everyone will lead a happy life. They will live very happily in his country, in their country. So basically, this Ram Rajya meant was the kingdom of God, in the kingdom of God. And if there will be kingdom of God, then definitely everyone will be very much happy. So he wanted to make those kind of state. All right. For him, Ram and Rahim were one and the same deity. So here, Gandhiji did not believe in religion. Like he believed, but he did not differentiate. He used to, that means by this line, we want to say that every religion was equal for the Gandhiji. Gandhiji, for Gandhiji, as the Quran is important, or as the Quran was important, similarly the Gita was important. As the Bible was important, similarly the Mahabharata was important. So he never differentiated. For Gandhiji, every religious book and every religious god was equally important. So Gandhiji gave equal importance to every religion and every person of that, of whether it doesn't matter from which religion he is or she is. So Gandhiji loved all the religion very much. And that is why for him, Ram and Rahim were one. There was no difference between Ram and Rahim. For his great contribution to the country, Indian call him the father of the nation or the Bapu. Because his contribution we cannot forget. His contribution was endless. He devoted his entire life for the upliftment of the poor and the needy people, and he devoted his entire life against the British rule because he decided that he will help the people to get the justice, to get their freedom once again. And that is why he started so many movements, very well. So because of his great contribution, we call him what? The father of the nation. He was assassinated on 30th January 1948 by Nathuram Godse. So he was shot dead on 30th January 1948 by Nathuram Godse. Nathuram Godse. Since then, 30th January is observed as Martyrs' Day in India, and that is why on 30th January, he was shot dead. On 30th January 1948, Nathu Ram Godse shot him dead. And that is why we observe this important day, this holy day, and we celebrate it as Martyrs' Day in India. So, this was all about the chapter. And if you have any doubts related to the question and answer of this chapter, you can ask. All right. Thank you very much.